Welcome back to the Cap Report. In today's video, we're going to discuss if Robert Lewandowski has played his last game for Bayern Munich. So this story's been around for a couple weeks as Lewandowski rejected a contract extension from Bayern a couple weeks before the Bundesliga season ended. It's been reported that he wants a new challenge in his career and that he'd like to make a move before he turns 35. He's currently 33 and his contract with Bayern ends next summer in 2023. So it's very possible that he can make a move this summer, but it really is going to rely on if Bayern's able to find either a replacement for him or if they get the suitable money for him, because it sounds like they're not willing to really discount his price because he has a whole year left on their contract and they're willing to let him go on a free if need be, which is actually quite reminiscent of how he came to Bayern. I want to say it was like 9 years ago that he wanted to make the move to Bayern, but Dortmund weren't willing to sell him because they had already sold Mario Götze to Bayern, to their rivals, and they didn't want to make, a habit of that. So they didn't sell him and forced him to play out the rest of his contract, and then he left to Bayern on a free. Maybe it's history repeating itself here a little bit. I guess we'll have to see. Right now, he's currently valued at, I want to say, around 50 million on transfer market. So it's hard to say, if the club values him at around that price too, but you could probably see him make a move from 40 to like 75 million, but I feel like 75 is getting a little high. Maybe you'll even see like a player swap or something. It's been reported that he's already agreed on personal terms, like a 3-year contract with Barcelona. But once again, it remains to be seen if the Barcelona and Bayern could come to a agreement on a transfer for him. Barcelona too, especially, kind of worries me as to if a transfer could go through, just because of the financial situation that club's in currently. So there's probably 5 or 6 clubs I could see in the race for Lewandowski. Another question is, where would he move to? Because a lot of places are kind of steps down from Bayern Munich, as they're one of the top clubs in the world. Obviously, the favorite here is going to be Barcelona. They're the one who seem to have the most concrete interest, and I think Lewandowski seems to be interested in going there as well. The question for that one is financials. That club's in so much debt if they can really afford to sign him, but this seems to not have stopped them in the past, so I guess you never know. But yeah, they have, supposedly, reportedly agreed on personal terms with him, so they would be the favorite, most likely. Another club would be Chelsea. They got the number 9 curse. They're probably looking to move on from Lukaku and Teemo Werner, so that would welcome in a position for Robert Lewandowski. I just don't know how much or what the odds are of that one playing out. Manchester United is another one I could see being in the running. This is just off the basis of Ronaldo might leave just because the club didn't secure Champions League for next season. I could see him leave, but it's hard to say with Ten Hag coming in. But that's just another one that's, maybe an outside shot in there. Arsenal's another one too. But once again, without Champions League, I doubt that they'll be able to pull him in either. And also, that club still kind of feels like rebuilding. So they'd be like a super outside shot, and I doubt that they'd really be in the running. The last club I could see is possibly Real Madrid. This is going off the basis of if Kylian Mbappe decided to re-sign with PSG, because at that point their other target, Erling Haaland, would not be available either, as he's already signed for Man City. So from a lack of their 2 top choices, maybe they go to Lewandowski from there. Actually, I could really see, because Haaland has a 3-year, I think at 3 years he has a release clause available from City. You could very well see that he plays for City for 3 years. Madrid sign Lewandowski for 3 years, or 4 years, right? But he's 33 right now, so they have until he's like 36, 37. From there, they use Haaland's release clause. So there's an option there even too. But that's all based on if Mbappe wasn't to sign with them. Next, we're going to go ahead and look at some possible replacements for Lewandowski. Some of these are rumored players the club's looking at, and some of these are just me throwing people out there. Start off with the guy who's not necessarily a like-for-like replacement in Sadio Mane from Liverpool. As I said, he's not, like-for-like replacement. He's not a striker, but Bayern has interest in the player. He'd be more of a replacement for someone like Gnabry if he left. But I think that the club is smart enough to move players around if they were to sign him to get all the best players on the field. But the interesting thing about Mane is that his contract ends next summer with Liverpool. Liverpool have to re-sign both Mane and Salah. Both of their contracts end next summer. Along with that, there's interest in them signing Jude Bellingham as well next summer. So there is an interesting aspect of the club, maintaining its wage structure. And, you might not be able to maintain everybody on that, which makes a signing like this possible. I don't know how likely it is, to be honest with you. I think it might depend maybe on how Liverpool's season plays out. And once again, really, I think it really might lay on what happens with Mohamed Salah. If he's able to re-sign with Liverpool, Mane might have to leave just from a money perspective. If Salah ends up moving from Liverpool, then I don't think this one would go through. Next up, we have Sebastian Haller from Ajax. Bayern are actually this is another one that's reported. They're competing with Borussia Dortmund over his signature. He's got previous experience in the Bundesliga with a 3-year stint with Eintracht Frankfurt. His current season with Ajax, he scored 33 goals in all competitions, including 11 in the Champions League, where Ajax made a nice little run, including winning their group. Another option is from within the Bundesliga is Sasa Koladic from Stuttgart. 24-year-old, he's a strong, tall number 9. I think that he would fit their system pretty well. He's one that's semi-rumored, but I don't see it a ton. He'd be a cheaper option for them, probably closer to like 20 million. Moving on from that, we have Patrick Schick from Leverkusen. He'd slot in really well, I think, into this Bayern team. He had 24 Bundesliga goals last season, but he'd be a very expensive signing. I think Leverkusen wants 70 million plus for him, and that price would likely put Bayern off from signing him. And also the player reportedly wants to stay at Leverkusen, kind of keep the team together and continue to build what they have there. So I don't think that one is likely to happen, but I guess you always have to keep your eye on it with Bayern being like the top team in the league. We've got Teemo Werner from Chelsea. The former Leipzig player hasn't found much success at Chelsea, and a move back to Germany could really kind of reignite his career. And I think that he could be considered in a player swap deal, to be honest. It'd probably involve a little bit of cash as well. It could be a kind of a win-win for the clubs and the players. Another option, also a Chelsea frontman, Romelu Lukaku. In his return to Chelsea, he kind of ruffled some feathers and he hasn't played the greatest. He could also be considered in a player swap. He's even said in the past, considered playing for Bayern or has thought about it, right? The only thing is, I don't know from a wage perspective and how much he might cost. I don't think it'd be worth it for Bayern, considering, how his performance has been comparative to what the price would likely be. Granted, I think, once again, with Bayern, you slot anyone in there and they're going to be pretty successful. And now we're going to kind of really off the rail options here that are like, I haven't seen these reported at all. These are just kind of me throwing things out there. Luis Suarez from Atletico Madrid. His contract's ending this season, so he's going to be a free agent like this summer. I think he could be a cheap target to kind of help fill the void that Lewandowski leaves. They're very similar players. Though I imagine that signing him would require Bayern to also sign one of the younger prospects listed. Like, for example, if they were to sign Luis Suarez on a free, I imagine they'd probably go after like Sasa Koladic as well or something, right? So you get a player who can kind of be an impact now, but he's not going to be here very long, and then you're also being able to have a guy step in when he leaves. And I haven't seen this one reported anywhere. Paulo Dybala, Juventus, who's also going to be a free agent. His contract is running out. He's not a like-for-like change for Lewandowski either. I think he plays a little more deeper in the field, but more central, like more of a center forward. So he might not fit Bayern's system perfectly, but he's just such a great talent to sign that on a free, especially, that I feel like I had to throw him in here. I don't think this one's very likely, but you never know, right? Finally, we have Usman Dembele, FC Barcelona. He is also going to be a free agent. His contract running out this summer. There's another player that wouldn't be a like-for-like signing, but he's got experience in the Bundesliga. He did really well with Dortmund in his 1-year tenure there. There's a lot of risk with him. Great talent, but there's a ton of lack of discipline and injury concern. But I think that Bayern could be the right club, with the structure of the club. I think Bayern could be the right club for Dembele to really grow up and mature and kind of develop into the player that he should be, and not the player that he is. But once again, these last three are really outside shots. Finally, I'm going to make my prediction on what's going to happen. I think that the club and the player are going to go back and forth for a while throughout the summer, but I think Lewandowski is eventually going to be able to get his move to Barcelona. I think that if it doesn't, I think that's just the obvious choice. As I said, his agent's already met with the club multiple times, and they have more or less personal terms already agreed. I think that if it's not Barcelona, it's going to be Chelsea. I think that if that is what happens, I would not be surprised if you do see something like a player swap where it's Teemo Werner going to Bayern, Lewandowski going to Chelsea. With that being said, I hope y'all enjoyed the video. Let me know what you thought of it, your thoughts on Lewandowski leaving Bayern, where you think he's going to go, anything like that. Go ahead and leave a like, subscribe if you like the content. Never thought I'd see Lewandowski leave.
We in Bayern, we have Robert Lewandowski. Robert Lewandowski.
Now, Sadio Mane. I said it last time I was on it, he's the best football player in the world. I don't know why he's laughing for. Chris, why are you laughing for? Why are you laughing for? I'm being serious. No, you see, I'm talking facts here. I don't do if, buts and maybes. I do absolutes.